Hello students, welcome to this online course of hydraulic engineering. So we have completed our first unit, that was the dimensional analysis and the similitude or model analysis. So in that chapter we have seen various types of parameters like dimensionless numbers. We have seen two theorems, Rayleigh's method and the Buckingham Pi theorem, and we have seen why Buckingham Pi is much more better than Rayleigh's method, because like if the number of variables are huge like 6, 7, 8, 10, then Rayleigh's method will become very complex. And one more drawback was like in the Buckingham Pi's theorem, we were initially very much sure that how much exact pi equations we are going to have. Pi equations are nothing but the dimensionless parameter which will be coming into picture when we are going to analyze the form. So in this way we have seen various problems, and we have seen river model also, that was like the distorted model. In that model, like all the dimensions were not exactly proportional to the in model and prototype. So we have seen like height was in different ratio to the length and width for the given problem. So we have solved number of problems, and I would suggest you try to solve some more unsolved problems, or if you are solving some solved problem also, try to first solve without seeing the solution. See the lecture, solve the problem, and if you are getting any doubt, then come back to the video or the concept for and then you will be comfortable with the problems. So now we are ready to move to our second unit, that is the turbulent flow. So turbulent flow is nothing but like whenever it is like you might have studied the laminar flow in your previous courses, like the basic fluid mechanics. So in previous laminar flow, laminar flow is a kind of ideal flow, like it is a hypothetical flow. In real life it is very tough to see those kind of flow, like laminar flow is not very common. In laboratory or by some proper arrangements you can get the laminar flow, but that too not the exact laminar flow. By the definition is laminar flow is all the particles are moving in a parallel direction, that there is no mixing of flow, like the fluid particles in the first layer is not going to mix with the fluid particle in the second layer. So it is very like hypothetical, or it is like not convincing that no mixing is possible. There will be mixing, but if the mixing is up to certain extent, then we are going to ignore that and we will assume that flow as a laminar flow. So before moving to turbulent flow, let us just try to recap your laminar flow. So I will try to make like little recap of your laminar flow, so that you will get some idea of the turbulent flow, because we will be referring the laminar flow every now and then. So let us see how like it is just this single PPT. I am not going into much detail, so I would try to cover the most important topics which are going to be helpful in our turbulent flow analysis. So in laminar flow, the fluid particles move along straight parallel paths in layers or laminae. Okay, so as I have told you, in laminar flow, what we used to assume, every particle, sorry, every layer, like if this is the flow, so each particle is parallel. No mixing is allowed from layer 1 to layer 2 or layer 2 to layer 3. So this kind of arrangement is there in your laminar flow, which is not exactly possible in real life or in real flow, such that the paths of the individual fluid particles do not cross those of the neighboring particles. It is just like we are assuming in strength of materials that every particle, like for Hooke's law to be applicable, material should be homogeneous. But in reality, at microscopic level, every material or every uh, metal is non-homogeneous at a microscopic level. But if like over 100 points we are getting like 19 or 95 points as homogeneous, then we are going to assume, we are going to ignore that 5 particles or 5 zones, and we will assume that whole particle is what is homogeneous. Likewise in the fluid mechanics, the first concept, like the concept of continuum, in which you are saying that you might have learned that like for fluid space, like if we are dealing with a controlled volume, each and every part is having a fluid particle, but in reality it is not possible. there will be some gap at microscopic level, so the particles will be, there will be gap between some like the particles, but still we are using the continuity equation. The all the equations are based on the continuum theorem only. So that is why these are the hypotheses, these are the theories proposed, so that we can move to the real situation by assuming these. Like in real problem, like the flow is turbulent, okay, but the turbulent flow to study is very very complex problem. Till now, till date, we are not very sure like the theories available, which are available, are like exact ones. So they are based on the like assumption, many assumptions are there, but we have to solve the problem which we are facing. So what the scientists have done, they, like if the like the problem is like the particle is having, let us say, in is orthotropic, that means it is having same quantities in only perpendicular direction. But for the sake of our calculation, what we used to do, we used to assume that everywhere it is having the same property. Like in strength of material, we assume E as constant, but in real life it is not going to happen. But on average, we can use, like in fluid mechanics, you might have studied the Eulerian approach and Lagrangian approach. So what that those approaches do, in Eulerian approach, what we are going to do, we assume the whole control volume as a average. What we used to do, like in Eulerian model, like in Lagrangian model, each particle is important. But what Euler said that no, if we are having a control volume, just try to see what is going averagely, like what is the mean of this flow. Then also we are having the this concept of mean velocity is coming from there only, because in reality there is no such velocity exist that we can say as mean velocity. Mean velocity itself is a what, is a hypothetical concept, because each particle is having different velocity. But to idealize the flow so that the study can be made easy, so that we can solve the various like mathematical problems by reducing the number of variables. So for those problems to overcome, we have a hypothesis that the flow is laminar. By using the laminar flow equations, we will be dealing with the turbulent flow equations, okay. So as such, laminar flow is nothing like, in reality you will not get anywhere the laminar flow in real flow. If like in laboratory you can make various setups to perform like the to make the flow as laminar, but in real life it is not going to happen. So the such that the paths of the individual particles do not cross those of neighboring particles. It occurs at low velocity, so that forces due to viscosity predominate over the inertial forces, and hence it is also known as viscous flow. So in laminar flow, you can assume that if you are sitting in a class and there is like queues are there, and I like the teacher instructed to go, every row will go parallel to each other. So every like each, let us say in each 6 rows are there, and in each row 10 students are sitting, and they will stand and they will try to cross the door, and they are in the 6 lines. Okay, let me try to show you. So if this is the door and students are sitting here, okay, so this row will come here, and second row will come here, and third row will come here. Like that they will be moving in a parallel line, and they are not mixing. Like no student from row 1 is allowed to go into row 2. So like that, this type of flow is termed as laminar flow, okay, in real life, if you want to assume it. And turbulent flow is nothing but the teacher has left and the bell has rang that there is holiday. So what will happen, student will rise and they will start to rush through the door, and this type of haphazard type of condition is termed as turbulent flow, okay. There is like full chaos, there is no proper what, like no discipline is there. The layer 1 is going to layer 3, layer 3 is going to layer 6, so intermixing is there. So laminar flow is also termed as viscous flow, okay, because the inertial forces are predominant. Sorry, the viscous forces are predominant over inertial forces. So if the laminar flow can be said if like Reynolds number is within the range of 2000 for pipe flow. For if like the if the flow is different, this value will change. Okay, for open channel flow it is different, for like capillary it is different. So for different flow it is having different values. For it is having ranges for laminar, turbulent and transition flow. For pipes, closed pipes, if the Reynolds number is less than 2000, that means we can say that flow is laminar. So if the Reynolds number is 1900, it does not mean that if Reynolds number is 1900 we can say that it is a not a turbulent flow. It can be a turbulent flow even if Reynolds number is less than 2000. So 2000 is a general value, it is not the exact value, like the moment we are crossing like 2000.01 and the flow will become immediately turbulent. No, it is nothing like that. It is a range given by, like, the experiment have been done and it is observed that if the value is lesser than 2000, it can be like it is very much possible to have a turbulent flow at Reynolds number 1500 also, and it is very much possible to have a laminar flow at 2500 Reynolds number also. So it is nothing like it is some because fluid does not know what is Reynolds number and how we have defined the Reynolds number. It does not know. Fluid will flow according to the conditions, prevailing conditions in like whatever medium, in whatever way it is flowing. Okay, so it does not mean like 2000 is a limit, but generally we can say like the Reynolds number, if it is less than 2000, then it will be laminar flow. If it is between 2000 to 4000, it is observed in most of the cases, then the flow will be transition flow, because the flow is developing. And if it is greater than 4000 the moment, then we can say that it is a turbulent flow. Clear? So for laminar flow, the fluid through pipes, the shear stress distribution, you might have derived this equation. So this is very simple equation. You just have to take the any element in laminar flow in a closed pipe, and by the force balance equation you will get this value. Tau is the shear stress, minus sign is because the flow is happening, so the gradient will be less because the flow will be from higher potential to lower potential. So P2 is less, so dp by dx, it will finally become a positive quantity. That is why minus is there. And the r is the distance from the pipe, you can see from here. Okay, the velocity and shear distribution for laminar flow is given here. So this is your velocity for different layers, and this is your shear stress. Okay, so this is a K shape. For laminar flow, the fluid through the pipes, so you can also derive this, you might have derived in fact this equation for the velocity at any point r. So you can see this is a parabolic 2-degree equation, so that is why this curve is parabola, and here you can see r is having single power, so that is why it is linear. So if you will put r is equal to 0, you will get the maximum velocity, so the maximum value you will get like this. And for the average velocity, you have to divide this whole q by the area, you will get this velocity. You can see the V max is what, 2 times of V average. Okay, and somewhere here when r is equal to 0.707 times of capital R, then these two velocities are going to be same. Okay, put the value here as 0.707, you will get both the Vmax and V average as same. Clear? So I hope this is clear to you. This was the quick revision of your laminar flow. Now let us see why we are going to study our turbulent flow. So the most of the pipe flow is turbulent in nature, and this value I have told you already. So as if the Reynolds number is greater than 4000, the flow is said to be in turbulent state. The velocity distribution in turbulent flow is relatively uniform, and the velocity profile of turbulent flow is much flatter than the corresponding laminar flow parabola of the same mean velocity. So in laminar flow there was no intermixing, so every layer was independent to each other. But in in turbulent flow, the intermixing is allowed. So there is a change of momentum between the particles. That is why they are having almost same velocity. Okay, you can see this is your turbulent flow curve, this is your laminar flow curve. So as you are increasing your Reynolds number, it will become flatter and flatter, and at very high values it will become even equal, like, and this is a logarithmic curve. Okay, this is parabola, and for turbulent flow it is logarithmic. So it becomes even flatter with increasing Reynolds number. In turbulent flow, the fluid particles are in an extreme state of disorder. Their movement is haphazard and large scale eddies are developed. So due to intermixing, there is full chaos in the turbulent flow. Turbulent flow you might have seen, but by the name you might have not known that this is a turbulent flow. Just go, like, open your pipe, like in tap is there, just open it at a very fast rate, and the flow which is resulting is the turbulent flow. If the flow is there, try to put your leg, try to obstruct that flow, and the flow near the boundary will become the turbulent flow. So in this way you can observe the turbulent flow in here and there, and mostly you will see the flow is turbulent if the velocity is very high. In turbulent flow, fluid particles are in extreme state of disorder. Such irregular motion of fluid particle in turbulent flow is on account of the fact that any fixed point in space, the velocity and pressure do not remain constant with time, but fluctuating in number. So in the laminar flow, the velocity we can make the average. We can say the velocity V average is constant. But due to the high disorder, like the chaos is there, so we cannot say the time and the velocity and the pressure is going to be constant. They will fluctuate immensely. In other words, in turbulent flow, there are irregular velocity and pressure fluctuation. So you can see, like, this kind of velocity distribution you will get. Like, this is not the constant value, okay, at any given point of time. So this type of, like, fluctuations will be there in turbulent flow. So no complete theory has been yet developed for the analysis of turbulent flow, and one has to depend at some point on experimentally derived equations. Okay, so it is very, like, in future if you want to go into research, this topic is very lucrative. You can have, like, you have so much scope in turbulent flow analysis. So if you want to pursue your higher study, you can choose this topic if you are having any interest in fluids. However, in turbulent flow also the mean components of the velocity and pressure may be considered, which may be assumed to have a constant value at any section of if the average are taken for over a sufficiently long interval of time. So what we are going to assume, like, we don't have any any point of, like, not discussing this analysis. We have to assume some values, and we have to do the analysis. So what you have assumed, we assume that if the time is very long, then on that period, on longer period, these fluctuations are going to be cancelled out, because we are assuming they are normally distributed. So normal distribution over a long period of time will give you a net average of 0. In mathematics you might have done that calculation also. So we on a longer period we can assume velocity and pressure, like any fluctuation on a long period of time, we will assume it as a constant. So in the case of turbulent flow, the velocity fluctuation influence the mean motion is in such a way that the additional shear resistance of flow is caused. So the cause of the flow can be established by assuming this condition. This shear stress produced in turbulent flow is in addition to viscous shear, and it is termed as turbulent shear stress. Okay, so this is for today. I have tried to give you some insight of this chapter, and from the tomorrow on the next lecture we will be moving forward in this topic. So try to revise your laminar flow, which you have been taught in the previous semester. Okay, so you will have a clear idea of this chapter. So this was all for today. Thank you.